Hi, Katie. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my urban homestead. Today, we're going to talk about lessons I learned while building or making my urban homestead. And for the topic for today is about the orchard. Now, for starters, I live in a less than a tenth of an acre of land here in urban location here in Nebraska. And the space that I have allotted, if you watch my previous videos, you would know that I talked about location and how to set up the urban homestead, and I talked about how to set up the orchard. So you can watch that for reference on why the orchard is placed at the back of the property. Now, if I follow the conventional way of growing an orchard, all that I could only fit like three fruit trees max because of the space. Because if based on um, you know professional advice, a fruit tree like an apple needs to be spaced with at least 8 foot apart for the next apple or the next fruit tree. Well, since I have very small space, I figured how will it work? Will it work if I plant a lot of trees on a small space? Because I only have a small space and I want a lot of fruit trees. So, and observe. Um, Here in the US, we lived several years in North Carolina, and in North Carolina, people there love their tree. I love their trees. And I've noticed that in the forest around the Appalachian Trail, it's compact. The forest is compact, and fruit trees are growing surrounded by plants. And I've also noticed that um, in a small amount of space, there are several trees planted, and they are growing harmoniously. So I figured, hey, if it works in the forest, it'll work in my yard. So I fashioned this orchard like it would a rainforest because I traveled also to Asia, Philippines, and Japan, and I've also noticed that the forest there is compact. I mean, there's lots of growth everywhere and they are working harmoniously. Another thing that I've noticed in the rainforest in Asia is that the fruits are planted not just near each other, but they are also different kinds of fruit trees. Like, for example, they don't plant all, well, I'm talking about rainforest, I'm not talking about the plantation here, okay? I've noticed that in the rainforest, like there's a banana tree here, and then there's a durian tree there, and there, you know what I mean? What I'm talking about is that they are compact and near each other, but they are different varieties. And I asked the owners, and they said, yeah, they all grow in season, they're all growing well. So I figured, you know what, there must be a science to this. So why not apply it here? Why not experiment in my own yard? Hence the reason why I planted several fruit trees on the first year that I started this orchard. Now, if you watch my first 10 videos, you would notice that I planted not just apples, but I also planted nectarine. I planted a nectarine there. I planted a persimmon here. It was a baby persimmon. And I planted another kind of apple over there that I can't remember the name. And on the hopes that they would all grow, because I asked the local, family owned garden shop around the area, and they said, yeah, they can all grow here in Nebraska. So I said, okay, let's see which one grows and which doesn't. So I planted them all, and lo and behold, in less than a couple months, the nectarine died. the persimmon died and that apple tree died. And these are the only ones left. Another factor in is I was told, how about plant a mature tree already that will bear fruit? But I said, I don't have much budget. I only have very little budget. So they said, okay, well, let's start with a stick. So if you look at the videos, all these trees started from a stick, especially this uh, plum tree. If you all remember right, this started from a less than a foot tall of a stick. And look how tall it is now. And I am 5 foot, 5 foot 2. And this tree is as tall as I am now. And this tree is now 2 years old and a couple months. The same thing with this tree. And I started them all from stick 2 years ago. And that cherry right over there. And this is something that I want to impart with you guys if you don't have much budget to start with sticks. I mean, start with little trees. I got them from Tractor Supply. And they were little sticks. I mean, like this one. This is my fig tree. And look, I got a fig fruit already. And it's August right now. And that's my first fig fruit. And it's the first time this one is bearing fruit. So let's hope it goes. Let's hope it grows big and strong. And I'm looking forward to harvesting that tiny fruit. I mean, it's worth rejoicing, especially remembering that I only planted them from less than a foot stick, because that's the only budget I have. And then this one got on sale, so that's why I ended up being able to purchase this one. So yeah, that's a lesson for you that I would like to impart. I mean, you can, if you have the land, go ahead and plant the conventional commercial way, or you can experiment with mine. Experiment with me and see if planting a little mini rainforest in your backyard would do. Next year I'm planning on adding some more flowers, herbs on the undergrowth, and I'm planning on planting covered plants, like those plants that like clover or things that you can plant on the ground, like ground cover. Yeah, that's the term, ground cover. Now another lesson tip that I want to impart with you guys is, when you're planting trees, don't do what I did. Because before, when we moved in, I really want to have, oh, look at my resident lion. My resident lioness, Katie. Anyway, when I first moved in here in this property, I planted 2 peach trees, and they were planted right where those big tall plants are. That's where the peach trees were planted before. And it was a big mistake. They ended up staying there for a while. I ended up digging them up, and I moved them here on this very back where this apple tree is and that struggling pear tree is, and they didn't survive the transplant. So the lesson that I want to impart: when you're going to plant tree, be certain where you're going to plant it, because they are meant to be permanent. I mean, because when I transplanted those permanent big trees, they didn't survive. Or maybe because I didn't know what I was doing. So yeah, ask for professional help if you have the money. Hire professional help to transplant the trees and know what on earth you're doing. But yeah, that's a lesson learned that I want to impart with you guys. So I hope that these tips would help. Study your location, know the kinds of fruits that grow in your area. Just because the gardeners and experts in your area say it grows, and then ended up wasting money, which is a good thing that I planted them all from tiny sticks. Because imagine if I planted that persimmon, a fully grown tree, and it died, that would be a lot of money wasted, you know what I mean? So that's a lesson learned. I mean, yeah, it takes them a while to grow, but at least you see them grow from a tiny stick to a tall tree, like this baby over here. And I am very proud of it. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and that's it for our orchard series. Next, we're going to talk about the lessons I learned planting vegetables and berries, because as you know, I planted a lot of berries in my yard, and most of them are not the kind that is heard of where I'm living in, but I was told that it grows, so you know, why not? I mean, this entire experience is all experiment, you know, because for me, I believe that your best teacher is experience, you know. Oh, and a sneak peek, I am growing Asian watermelons in my orchard. Ta-da! Ain't they wonderful? Here's to hoping and praying that they would grow big and strong so I can harvest them. Oh yeah. And yes, this is a goji berry growing in the middle of it, because why not? Thank you and take care. Oh, don't forget to like that button and subscribe. Bye. See ya.